The DFL majorities in the Senate and the House have made a number of changes pertaining to elections and voting, including the restoration of voting rights once people have completed incarceration and automatic voter registration. Other changes were included in the omnibus state government and elections budget bill. Senator Jim Carlson is the chair of the Senate Elections Committee, and he joins me now. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much, Shannon.
So Minnesota enjoys high voter turnout, as you know, which means that they know how to vote. What are maybe just a few changes that Minnesotans may notice, thanks to this budget bill, the next time they visit the polls?
Oh, there's so many things that we've done. We've increased the ability for people to register to vote. Now we have the automatic registration, so there's going to be a lot fewer people that will have to register on election day. We've increased the number of days that you can vote. We've designated a Sunday before. We've designated more abilities to do absentee voting at your place of your county and places like that. So there's a lot of new changes that people will welcome. And the fact of the matter is not only do we have high turnout because we're just oriented that way, but people really trust Minnesota's elections.
The new law seeks to protect election workers from intimidation or interference. This was of concern in the last election. What mechanisms have been put into place to tackle this and make people feel safer?
Well, we've actually added some crime if you threaten workers. We've had reports of people being followed home, being called and harassed. We also make sure that we don't supply information on all the election judges. You can get information yet as has been provided before, but now it's more protected. Plus the voters themselves are a little bit more protected. We don't allow, we've always had that where we don't allow police at the polls unless they're voting. So there are things like that just make it a little bit more comfortable to walk in and vote.
College students are an interesting cohort to try to get involved in elections. They frequently lack a permanent residence, and often they're more concerned about their studies than they are the state of the state or the nation. How does this new law attempt to get college students more involved in the voting process?
One of the things about being registered in a new place is you have to live there for 20 days. So we make sure that colleges provide the names and addresses, even off campus, of college students so they can be approached and be registered to vote. And of course, Minnesota allows college students to vote either by absentee at their home address, or they can register at college and vote from that address. So it's making it a lot easier for college students to become registered and also show up to vote.
Provides them more options, for sure. Current law allows people to take time off from work on election day, but this new law now further expands that time frame. People will now have the right to be absent from work to vote during the 46 days prior to election day. Who will be helped by this change?
Every voter will be helped because they can now choose when they want to go in and vote. But also there's a little benefit for businesses too, because not everybody has to vote on election day and leave work. So they can work it out with their employees to perhaps still get coverage and still allow everyone to get out and vote. And really, there's no difference between letting them off on another day and letting them off on election day, other than the fact that some election days you have a long line. So there's a lot of congestion at the polls. So this is going to help everyone.
Yeah, so ideally then, because there won't be the long lines, often that's what takes so long to go vote, is if your polling place is super busy.
Exactly.
Yeah. One item that garnered quite a bit of dissent from Republicans is a provision that will add Minnesota to the National Popular Vote Compact. What is this, and why is it a good idea for Minnesota to join this compact?
The compact allows, or let's say the intent, is to have the winner of the election, the presidential candidate that gets the most votes, to be elected president. We've had instances where that hasn't happened, where someone has gotten a greater popularity vote and still didn't earn to get to be president. And it still uses electors, so it doesn't eliminate the elector system, but what it does do is everyone that signs that compact, or every state that signs that compact, as soon as you get 270 electoral votes, then all of those in the compact have agreed to put their votes for the person that gets the most votes in the nation. And what that does for Minnesota, it means that your vote counts, whether you voted for the winner in Minnesota or not, and it gets added to other states, and it can make a difference as to whether the president gets elected by the most votes or not. And in this case, I think that's real important. And contrary to some criticisms, going to a state with a small population still gets added to that total for that particular candidate. So we think that it won't be just the so-called battleground states that get visits by presidents, or presidential candidates.
This could be, if enough states are in this compact, this could be a significant change then to who wins the presidential election. Could be.
When we say significant, it's only happened a couple of times, and so yes, it'll make a difference. I think it's the right thing to do to have the person who gets the most votes win the contest.
There was a fair amount of discussion during the last session about ranked choice voting, which had a pretty big impact in one of Alaska's elections where they use it. It was ultimately left out of the bill, but the law does require now that the Secretary of State will conduct a study looking into engagement, education, and election system improvements, quote, which can include but is not limited to assessing ranked choice voting. The Secretary of State study is to be completed by June 30th of 2025. How do you view this task force, and do you believe that there is a role in Minnesota, in more Minnesota elections, some cities do, for ranked choice voting in the future?
I believe there is. Now, what I need to do is go back to see how this got started, because Hennepin and Ramsey already have it in their counties. And there have been a lot of reactions to it from new voters, from people who are new Minnesotans, from the demographics that are not necessarily the high turnout voters. And we had, and I can tell you this, that we had a lot of discussion about the two things or three things that were involved in this. One of them is whether we should allow all locations, that includes county school districts and other statutory cities, to have ranked choice voting. And the problem was that the Secretary of State told us we aren't ready to count those, because the states that have ranked choice right now, they count differently than we do. So we need to figure out technically how we can count it. Plus, then we also said we need to find out whether this is something that people want. And so we decided to skip the what we call the local option, allowing everybody to do it, and do the study with a task force that is going to report on just how much do people want ranked choice voting. So it's not a given, and that's why it says not limited to.
Right. Perfect. One more question before we go. There has been a tradition in Minnesota that election law changes are done with bipartisan support. Senator Mark Curran, who is the Republican lead on your committee, said in a statement that this bill, which did not have Republican support, will make elections, quote, weaker, riskier, less transparent, and less trustworthy. So how do you counter that? How would you respond to constituents who agree with him?
Well, one thing is that we did consider having bipartisan support on bills, and I need to specifically focus you to SF3, which was Liz Bolton's election bill. And that's a bill, and I announced right away that if we have all five, because Senate can only have 5 sponsors, if we have all 5 from one party, that bill will get a lower priority to be heard than one that has bipartisan support. And I put my money where my mouth is, and Liz Bolton entered her bill, had 5 Democrats on it. So I removed my name, and I let that bill have 1 spot for a Republican. They wouldn't sign on to it, and then at the last minute before we passed it, we had Senator Mitchell sign on in my place. So we tried, and we did add some amendments, and we did have a couple of bills that were sponsored by Republicans. Senator Coleman had 2 bills in the final final roll-up of our election bills. But we did have, I think it was 78 bills that were referred to our committee, and many of them were provisional ballots or voter ID or other things that we've discussed before, and we've set them aside. So we've had a statewide vote on voter ID, and there wasn't any point in trying to discuss that.
Senator Jim Carlson, we're going to stop here, but I want to thank you so much for taking the time.
Well, thank you, Shannon. This is great. I'm glad to be able to come back here again.